Hello, this is Tennille at Rotwood Acres. Lately I've had a lot of people express interest in my sourdough. I do a lot of sourdough baking. I have for about 2 years now. I am by no means an expert, but I'm here to share with you what I do. I tend to bake things as simple as possible because we have a lot going on here at the homestead with kids and animals and life off the farm too. So you will get on some blogs and you will find people that are very, very religious and very regimented about their sourdough care. You're not going to find that here. So sometimes my loaves aren't beautiful and aren't textbook perfect, but they're always delicious and they're always edible. So that's what I'm looking for. So this is a sourdough starter. Sourdough starter is literally a 1-to-1 ratio of flour and water by weight. It looks like you would expect it to, like a liquidy kind of pancake batter consistency concoction. And mine has been in the fridge. I keep it in the fridge between feeds because I don't feed it every day. I don't use it every day. Like I said, I keep things really simple. So today I'm going to move it to a clean jar. It's been in this one for a while. There's a lot of crusty bits and they start to flake off and make chunks in your bread dough, which I don't like. So like I said, we're going to feed it at a 1-to-1 ratio. So I know that my measuring cup here is 340 grams. I've got it on my kitchen scale. We are going to zero that. Just give it a second here to catch up. I like to keep a fairly significant quantity of sourdough starter because I generally don't do less than 2 loaves at a time. I also use it, I do sourdough English muffins quite often that are really delicious. We've gotten into sourdough pizza doughs lately. The kids love to decorate their own pizzas. And it's just so simple. So I've really been enjoying finding all the different ways to use the sourdough starter. And it's really cut down on the amount of bread products that we buy at the store. I like that because we can keep the added ingredients down. It's fresh, it's delicious, and it just eliminates having to stop all the time. So here I have got 210 grams of sourdough starter. It measures about 3/4 of a cup here. This one you can't really read, it's etched. I got sick of measuring cups that the numbers washed off. So I've got 3/4 a cup of starter here. And like I said, 210 grams. I'm going to transfer that into my clean jar today. But usually I just put it right back into the same jar. I probably only change the jar about once every 4 or 6 weeks or so. Then I'm going to go over here to a drinking water tap. The water and the sourdough starter are very close in volume to weight. So I put 3/4 of a cup of water here. 180 grams, so I'm going to go just a little bit more. 204 or 205. So I'm just probably about 7/8 of a cup here, and that has my weight similar. I don't do things exact. In fact, most times I don't even use the scale. If I take 3/4 of a cup of starter, I'm going to take about 3/4 of a cup of water. And here I'm within 1/8 of a cup. I'm going to dump that in here. And then the same thing now, I'm just going to re-zero my scale with my dry measuring cup here. I know from doing this enough times that roughly you're going to go almost twice as much in volume of flour. So if I had 3/4 of a cup of starter and water, I'm going to be close to 1.5 cups of flour to have this similar weight. So I fluff it up a fair bit because that's what you're supposed to do with flour. So this is a cup of flour here. That's 145 grams. What am I going for? 210, 220? Like I said, I don't keep good track of this. And in the sake of not being messy, I'm going to spoon it in, but I'm still going to end up with flour everywhere. Alright, and then who remembers what my number was? So there's another 80 grams. I should have been writing this down, talking and mathing at the same time. So this was about 1/2 cup that I've got in here. Like I said, I only put half of what's herein. I'm gonna mix it up, and then basically your goal is to have, like I said, a pancake batter consistency. Let's see, this is a bit sticky, but if I stir right down to the bottom, it's pretty okay. Then I'm just gonna simply leave this on my counter now. In about 4 to 6 hours, I'm gonna put a plate under this one because it's a little bit more full than I usually do, but I am like down to my last 3 slices of bread and I don't have any other bread products in the house. So I need to do a bit of a baking blitz here. Sourdough pancakes, that's another thing that we do that's really delicious. So I mixed it up. Try and shake some of it off my spoon here. I've got a jar of flour and water. It looks pasty. I've stirred all the lumps out. I leave my spoon in there because I'm going to use it later, and I hate washing the sticky flour and water off. So it is 10:30 now, mid-afternoon. This will be all bubbly and risen. As it gets close to the top of the jar, I'll have to keep an eye on it because I don't want to have to clean it off the counters today. But it will be ready to bake with. So today I'm going to do some bread, and Lennon has been requesting cinnamon buns, so I will also do a rich sourdough that we will use to make our favorite honey and cinnamon buns. I will share those recipes with you later. But this process that I just showed, that's feeding your sourdough starter. So when you're reading about sourdough, that's what it means to feed. Some people would discard if they don't want to keep such a big volume. I don't do that. I have found recipes, sometimes I would feed it, my day would get away from me, and I'm not back in kind of that 4 to 6 hour range to bake with it. So then I would use a sourdough discard recipe. So an example of that would be our pizza dough. You can do crackers really easily. You can add it to muffins, pancakes, brownies, tons of things. So I never throw away discard. Sometimes you read a lot and they talk about, yeah, you just throw it away or whatever, and I'm like, that's ingredients, we're gonna use that. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this on my counter. It's gonna get bubbly. I'll show you what it looks like when it's active, is the terminology that you see. And then if I'm not wanting to feed it every day, if I'm not wanting to care for it every day, so today I'll do all my baking, and then I'm just gonna simply put this in the fridge to rest it. The refrigeration makes it go a little bit dormant, so it doesn't ferment so fast. And then it's fine to leave it in there. I generally don't leave it more than a week. And that's even when things get really, really busy. Twice a week is normal for me to bring it out, feed it, and do something with it. But if you're a smaller family, or you don't eat that much bread product, or you prefer to do like I do and do batch baking and then forget about it for the week, then just leave it in the fridge. Keep the lid off of it. You want air exchange because it is a fermenting product, which is one of the magic things about sourdough, why it's so much better than like a yeast bread. And yeah, it really doesn't need to be that complicated. If you have any questions, like I said, I'm not going to give you the most scientific or technical. I'm going to give you the easy, fits into your life answers. But I'm happy to help you try and troubleshoot. And I will be back later with recipes on how to use your sourdough starter. Enjoy!